Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
We are 2 days and counting from Week 18, Game 17, which, believe it or not, means absolutely nothing in terms of the standings for either team. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Channel 3. I'm Jay Crawford. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk a lot about the Browns and the Bengals. I'm going to tell you about a position coach for the Browns who says he wants to be a head coach again. Bull.
I'm Adam the Bull, and I've got a running back that I think is going to have a huge game this week, and I've been talking about him all year. I'll tell you why coming up in just a little bit. G. Bush.
G. Bush, I'm G. Bush, and I'm thinking about bringing cabs back, driving yellow cabs. But first, I'm going to let you guys know why Jeff Driskel has been touched on the shoulders by Flacco, and in maybe 300 yards in his future. Jason Lloyd.
Wow.
And I'm Jason, and I'm going to tell you about what's going to happen in the game on Sunday. It doesn't matter, right? Maybe it does. We're going to talk about it in pre-written headlines. We do it every week. Mikey.
I'm Mikey McNuggets, and the Browns-Bengals game may not have any implications on the playoffs, but we're going to tell you who to root for as a Browns fan in the highly contested AFC South matchups, because one of those three teams will be the Browns' first-round opponent next weekend.
Yeah, we're going to rank it. Who we most want to play, who we least want to play. We do know that it will be the winner of the AFC South. We also know that it will be at their place, and we also know that whoever it is, we would have already beaten that team once already this year.
Correct.
All right, we start with Jeff Driskel. Jeff who? That's right. He is the fifth starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns this year, and if form holds, he could be the fifth starting quarterback to win a game for the Browns this season. We thought that had never been done before, but after much research, Mikey McNuggets, our producer, found out that it was done once before in the strike-shortened season. In 1987, the New England Patriots won games with 5 different quarterbacks. So, guys, if this would be the first time that it's happened in a non-strike season. But also, it's going to have 17 games to get that done. Where does that accomplishment rank for you guys in terms of unbelievable sports feats?
I think it's something that we may not see broken. Again, I mean, to talk about 5 different quarterbacks, look, think about it. Brett Favre played every single game for ever until he retired, right? He had a string of crazy amounts of games. They've done it with Watson, Flacco, P.J. Walker, DTR, and now Jeff Driskel. And I think this is a really big accomplishment, and it speaks to Kevin Stefanski specifically, because he gets his quarterbacks ready to play, he gets them ready to go, and if Jeff Driskel could come out here and play well and lead the Browns to a victory, I think we have to now give his genius keys back to the offense.
I totally agree. I think it's a testament to the coaching. When you can get 5 different quarterbacks, by the time you get down to your 5th quarterback, you're talking about Uber drivers.
Yeah.
And to get these guys ready to play in NFL games, if they come out and win, and I mean, it sounds like the Bengals are going to be playing their starters for the most part. They have nothing left to play for, but their top guys are still going to be out there. You go out there and you win that game, that's really a testament to Kevin Stefanski and this offensive staff and being able to get guys ready to play and being able to operate with different quarterbacks, no matter who the quarterback is in the system, getting the most out of them. So I'm fascinated to watch Driskel for a variety of reasons. I think he could have playoff implications on this roster if he plays well. I don't think this is just a throwaway, get in and get out game. I think there could be some long-term impact if he does well. So I'm really curious to see what he does.
I think in terms of it being a record, I don't really care. I mean, it's not a record that anybody's trying to get. It's an odd set of circumstances. And the 5th one in particular doesn't matter because he's not playing due to injury. He's playing due to the game being meaningless. That being said, I care because what he's done to this point, Kevin Stefanski, it shows you how good a coach he is, that he was able to win games. I mean, he beat 2 good teams. One excellent team in San Francisco and one pretty good team in Indianapolis with maybe the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life in P.J. Walker. And that is remarkable. The 5th one to me is who cares. But what he's done with 4 different guys, including, I know G said he wasn't surprised. To me, I'm beyond surprised how well Joe Flacco's played. A lot of that credit goes to Flacco, but a lot of it also goes to Stefanski. And this record is really not about the record. It's about what it says about the job that Kevin Stefanski has done this year.
Yeah, when you think about great sports records that will never be broken, you think DiMaggio's 56. You think about Cy Young, 511 victories or whatever it was. There's a lot of things that you think about in terms of great sports moments. This is one that happened because a set of circumstances that has probably only come up a handful of times.
Right.
How many teams have gone through 5 quarterbacks
Not many.
in a single season? But I will say this. It's significant for this reason. If he doesn't already have his hands on his second Coach of the Year trophy, if he wins with Jeff Driskel and completes that bizarre feat, he is the slam dunk Coach of the Year for me. Am I wrong?
I totally agree.
I've kind of come around. I think he's actually. I've always thought he should win it. I didn't think he will. I think he's going to.
I don't think this game should factor into it. I think he's already a slam dunk winner in my mind.
Yeah.
It's just the last impression.
Yeah,
if
maybe.
they get blown
It might
out
for some
35
voters,
to nothing, it's not going to be a good look for him. We saw what happened in the MVP race when the San Francisco quarterback had a bad week.
But that was a meaningful
fell
game.
out.
This
It
is
was.
not. Yeah.
But, I mean, I just think in terms of putting that last taste in someone's mouth, in the voters' mouths, that's when they're going to vote when the regular season's over. It's just, it really is a bizarre accomplishment. Now, who is Jeff Driskel? What should we expect from this guy? Bull laughed when we put this question in the show because he's like, I mean, how the heck do any of us know what to expect?
Yeah.
You talk about coming off the couch. He may literally have been coming out of the Uber car. What do we expect from him?
I'm not expecting much because I think the Browns, I know recently the Browns have been throwing the ball a ton.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think this game's going to be completely opposite. I think Kevin Stefanski wants this. First of all, like an average football game is what, 3 hours, 3 hours and 10 minutes? The Browns games are 3 hours and 30 minutes. Every game they play is long. This will end that streak. He wants to get through this game as fast as possible. He doesn't want anybody to get hurt. And how do you do that? You run the ball. The Bengals, who had a subpar run defense before they lost their best run stopper, DJ Reader, now have maybe the worst run defense in the league. So I'm expecting the Browns to run the ball a ton in this game, which means the game moves fast. I don't think they're going to throw it that much. I think Jeff Driskel will probably not throw a touchdown pass. Maybe he throws one pick, but I'm not expecting that much because I'm not expecting him to throw that much.
Yeah, we had Tim Couch on the YouTube show, and Tim said how fast he is, and he's a better runner than people realize. And my colleague at The Athletic, Zach Jackson, joked earlier this week, Kevin wants to be on the bus by 3:45. Sort of seeing what you were saying. They're just going to run. I still think they're going to throw it because I still think there's a chance Jeff Driskel is the backup quarterback for the Browns in the postseason. And I just don't think that there's any faith in P.J. Walker because he's been such a turnover machine. So in order to do that, you have to see what Jeff Driskel can do with the ball in his hands and not necessarily with his feet. So I do think they're going to throw it, maybe run a little bit more run heavy than they've been in the past. But I think that this is a real look at Jeff Driskel to see if he should be the backup to Joe Flacco when the playoffs begin next week.
And if you look at what Kevin Stefanski's track record is, when DTR was in the preseason, guess what he did? He threw the ball. Last year when it was cold and minus 45 degrees or something with Deshaun Watson against the Saints, guess what? He threw the ball. When they had P.J. Walker and they was running around in Seattle trying to get a victory.
And they should have been running it more.
They threw the ball.
Yeah.
So Jeff Driskel's going to get 40 tosses.
Wow.
They're going to come out here and they're going to run his offense. They're going to run exactly what they're doing. And as I said earlier in the opening, guess what? Tap the shoulder. I think he might throw for him almost 300.
All right.
Who's going to get 100 yards in the passing game?
Cedric Tillman.
All right, we'll see. I think he'll throw it 25 times. I think he'll be better than 50% completion. I think he'll throw a touchdown and a pick. And he's going to be somewhere between Flacco and Watson at the top end and DTR and PJ at the bottom end. I think he's going to slide into where we look at him and say, if something should happen to Flacco, he's going to play well enough where he'll get the nod as the number 2 over P.J. Walker, who, let's face it, Kevin's already cut once this year. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. Moving on, it's time for player props. This is the top part of the show where Mikey gives us a line, a number that a certain player is set to achieve. We decide if that number is going to be an over or an under. Who do we start with?
Bull, you're up first, and let's start with Pierre Strong. Over under 62.5 rushing yards for who could be the Browns' RB1 on Sunday.
Yeah, I alluded to this in the open. I alluded to them running a lot in the last conversation. Pierre Strong is going to get. I mean, who else? I assume Ford and Kareem Hunt will not play. I guess I don't know that, but I'm assuming they both won't play this week. If that's the case, Pierre Strong, I would, and I've already said I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I'm expecting him to get at least 15 carries and at least 20 touches total. I think he can run for 100 yards this week. The Bengals' run defense stinks. I expect him to have a huge game and at least one big-time play where he gets 30-plus yards. So I'm expecting well over 65 for Pierre Strong.
I would love to see that. And before the show, I was ready to say we are going to see that. But after hearing Jason talk about just the body situation that Kevin Stefanski is in, and he can't rest everybody, that means to me that probably Ford and Hunt will get some time. So it might be running back by committee. They'll maybe split the carries between the three of them, and for that reason, I don't think he goes over 62.5. Hope I'm wrong.
Next up, Jason, how about Cedric Tillman? G. Bush said 100. The over-under is 53.5. Over-under for the Browns rookie receiver.
I'll take the over on that. I don't know if he's going to get to 100, but I've been impressed with Tillman the last few weeks. He's really come on as a target that I think Flacco trusts. Obviously, he's got a new quarterback throwing to him, but I do think that they're going to throw the ball on Sunday. I think they want to see what Jeff Driskel has. And if in an emergency situation, if Flacco were to get hurt, can he be a backup? So, and I expect Tillman to be the leading receiver. You can't play Amari Cooper this week. I do think you can't sit everyone. Roster limits will prevent that from happening, but Amari is one of those guys you have to sit. Obviously, he's got the injury, and more importantly, I know I just said Driskel could be the backup, but right now, he's a backup quarterback, and you can't take the risk of Driskel putting the ball in a bad spot, Amari stretching for a catch and injuring himself. So for plenty of reasons, Amari has to sit. Elijah Moore is going to sit. So Tillman probably is the number one option in this offense right now, I would think, going into this game.
Njoku's going to sit too, don't you think?
And Njoku probably will sit.
Yeah.
So I think Tillman is certainly among the receivers. He's going to be the primary option. I'd take the over.
Laid it down exactly. I think he going to get 100. He going to be in most of it is because he's going to get the most targets. By the way, also, I like the fact that Joe Flacco got on him last week in terms of in the end zone when he ran the wrong route or didn't cross the face of the defender. I think that shows that Joe wants him to be better, which shows he has confidence in him that he's going to be a bigger part of the offense moving the next couple of weeks.
All right, Jay, you're up. How about the other receiver who's expected to take an expanded role? David Bell.
Under.
Over-under 55.5.
Under.
You didn't hear the number.
I don't need to. Under. Tell me I'm wrong.
No.
That number for David Bell? Does he have that many yards for the season?
He does.
That's higher than Tillman.
Give me the under.
Higher than Tillman.
Yeah, give me the under. Next.
Jason, any rebuttal? You concurring?
I mean, it's hard to.
You're not going over on that.
It's hard to argue that. No,
right.
I got to take the under on that.
All right, the G. Bush, you're up last. How about over/under 1.5 touchdowns for Jeff Driskel?
Man, this
Total touchdowns, rushing
is
and passing.
over. The guy's going to use this is easy money. You guys need to learn from the boy. Listen, this is over. The easy part is he's going to run, and he has access to his legs. He can run goal line stuff, scrambles, getting out in the open field, extended plays. That's one. I think he does get a short touchdown pass off play action inside the 20. That's two. Easy money. He gets 2 touchdowns. Now, the thing was, it should have been 300 yards, but you let me off the hook. I'll take the 2. What do you got?
Is it just passing touchdowns or both?
Total, rushing and passing.
Come on over here, boo.
Under.
What?
No, he's not getting 2 touchdowns.
What?
Wow. I mean,
not even scrambling?
In technical terms, he's a crappy quarterback. I'm being a little technical. Listen, I'm all in. We love the Browns. We love everything, but not everybody's good.
But
not everybody's going to be good.
No, they are for G. Bush.
When you drinking the Kool-Aid, everything is good.
And I don't know. It's one of those games that I expect to be low scoring, and both teams want to get the hell out of there. And
yeah.
I
love that. In technical terms, he's a crappy quarterback. All right, Jim Schwartz said yesterday that his days as an assistant coach, if he has his choice, are done. Listen, play it.
I love this organization. I love the city of Cleveland. That was such a great atmosphere. 31 years in the NFL. That was probably That was one of my top 5 atmospheres, that Thursday night. We needed to share that with the players. We got a lot of energy from them. We needed to give them a little energy, pay them back. Not many chances you have to be able to clinch at home. So, all that. But I'd say this, like in any job that you do, you always aspire to the top of that profession, and I'm no different there.
All right. So in technical terms, he wants to be head coach again.
Of course.
He didn't say those words, but obviously that's what he said. Will he be a head coach again, and will it be in 2024 somewhere other than Cleveland?
The trend has always been young offensive-minded guys as head coaches. It's not always, like Robert Saleh's out there and Sean
young.
McDermott.
Yeah.
But Jim is a little bit on the older side, and he has a defensive background. Those are things working against him, really. I think he's earned another opportunity. I think he should get another opportunity. But, the Bengals defensive coordinator, I thought, earned an opportunity last year to be a head coach.
And didn't get it.
And he didn't get it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how this goes with Jim. I was kind of getting the impression that he was content to be a DC. I was a little bit surprised by what Jim said this week because I thought he had a little bit of a been there, done that mentality, and he was content to be here. If I had to put money on it, I think he will be back here next year as the DC, but certainly if there's head coaching opportunities, he gets an opportunity to interview, he's going to take it.
I do not think he's going to be a head coach next year. I know he obviously would want to be. Yeah, it doesn't mean he's not content. He might be content and still, hey, if an opportunity came up, I would take it.
That was his way of telling other teams.
Yeah, I'm still
that's
interested.
exactly what he was doing.
The only distraction, I think it could be, certainly any coach, any coordinator interviewing for a job during the playoffs could potentially be a distraction for that coach. There's no doubt about it. I mean, is that the reason they win or lose? Probably not, but it could be a distraction.
Well, you're splitting
sure.
time. You're going somewhere to interview, and a lot of times teams will say when the playoffs are over and our season is over, you can talk to them.
Yeah.
But these jobs get filled and get filled
That's
quickly
right.
once the regular season ends.
I like the fact that you was lobbying for that pay raise. I like you, Jim. I like to see what you did right there. You said pay me more without saying pay me more. I hope he doesn't go selfishly, but I think he deserves that shot. Selfishly, I think if he had one more year here, I think the Browns have a 2-year window. Next year, getting all the people back, I think they'd be great.
I'd be fine with the Browns saying you're the associate head coach. Here's a nice little bump in pay. Stick around and get comfortable here, because I think it's rare that you find that mix of genius offense, genius defense, and the Browns have it. Haslam, write the check, lock it down, and let's move forward. All right, we're taking a break. When we come back, it's your rooting guide to this weekend's NFL action. Who do you want the Browns to play in the playoffs? We'll give you our picks when we come right back. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Thanks for spending time with us. Here's the drill. We know that the Browns will face the AFC South winner. It will either be Houston, Indy, or Jacksonville. On the bright side, they've beaten all 3 so far this season. This game will be on the road. I want you guys to rank who you most want the Browns to play, with the least team you want to see being first and the team you most want being third.
I think third is easy. We'll end with that. But first and second, to me, is tough. It's debatable. In the end, guys, for me, the team I want the Browns to play the most is Jacksonville. I think close, but Jacksonville, even though Trevor Lawrence is a lot better than, what's his name at Indianapolis? Gardner Minshew. But Jacksonville is just a mess right now.
They are.
Last year, remember, they were playing their best football at the end of the year, and it carried into their great comeback win in the playoffs. This year, they were playing great for most of the middle of the season, and they have completely cratered. Lawrence has been hurt. He may come back this week. He may not even play this week. So who knows what he's going to be like next week. He hasn't been good for the last 6 weeks. Their running game is kind of mid. Their defense is not great. Their home crowd is the lamest of the 3. I think in the end, I would go with Jacksonville 1, Indianapolis 2, and clearly Houston 3. Now, the Browns did beat all 3 teams, but the big caveat is they beat Houston with Case Keenum,
right?
Not C.J. Stroud. Yeah. That's a huge difference. If you look at it in Vegas, the only one of these 3, I think the Browns will either be a pick'em or even a slight favorite against Jacksonville or Indy. If they play Houston, they'll be an underdog. Not big, but I think they'll probably be like a 2-3 point underdog. I think the Browns have a great chance to win no matter who they play, but clearly it's a huge drop for me to 3 with Houston.
Jace?
Man, I'm with you, right in that same order. Trevor Lawrence is beat up. I've never been a big believer in Jacksonville. I think the Browns go in there and win that game. Gardner Minshew really moved the ball on this defense early in the season, so that gives me a little bit of pause that, I think that's a tougher game than people would realize, and I want no part of C.J. Stroud in the playoffs. If he's healthy, he leads the league, I believe, in most 300-yard games this year. He's been terrific as a rookie, and that would be by far, to me, the hardest game for the Browns in the first round.
Yeah, I wish I could give you some diversity up here in other ways, but I'm not. In other ways. But this is not going to work. I don't want to see C.J. Stroud. He is too dumb to understand that he's not supposed to be playing. He's too young for that.
It's insane.
He don't get it. But it's house money. They got a new coach, a brand new rookie quarterback. He may go out there and make reads and throws that he's not supposed to do. I don't like that. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars in their terrible home, lame crowd. We can fill that stadium up. You might hear chances of Cooper. You might see touchdowns, people getting ready for Flacco. In Indianapolis, I think the run game is I don't like playing in that dome. I don't like their run game. Gardner Minshew scares me. No parts of them, but I'll go with Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'll shake it up a little bit. I have the same order, but I'm a 3, 1A, and 1. I think the difference between Houston and Indianapolis is a lot closer than you make it sound. You're like, slam dunk, don't give me Houston.
Yeah, for me.
I don't want Houston, but I've seen Indy at full strength, and Gardner Minshew created fits for this defense. In fact, he's made this defense look as bad as they've looked all year. I don't think there's another offense that has had that kind of success against the Browns. So he scares me, and it's mostly with his feet. He threw for 300 yards, but he was running all over that Browns defense. I just don't want to see that again. So let Jacksonville get – what has to happen for us to get Jacksonville?
They win.
That's it.
That's it.
And who are they playing?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
All right. So
But it's at Tennessee.
we're big fans of yours this weekend.
If Jacksonville beats Tennessee, they will host the Browns. If
Very
Jacksonville loses, then the Houston Indy winner will host the Browns.
Very good. So that's like a playoff game for them already.
Yeah.
They'll be ready for the playoffs because they'll be a little sharper.
That's
Browns
right.
are coming off rest.
They're
playing a meaningful game.
What you're saying about Minshew is very fair. I'm just saying I think that was an anomaly.
Okay, I
more
hope
than
so.
it's going to happen again.
I hope
That's
so.
my feeling on it.
All right. And you've been saying all year the quarterbacks that give the Browns the biggest problem are the running quarterbacks.
That's true.
And he can do that. We're taking a break. When we come back, why watch the game? It's our pre-written headlines. We tell you who wins and how next. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC Channel 3. We are here every Friday of the regular season. Who knows, if the playoffs continue, you might see us next week as well. Time for pre-written headlines. Who wins the game and how? First up, G.
Man, this is easy money. I told you before when this whole thing started, you got Flacco and you got Jeff Driskel. We transitioned power. Jeff Driskel keeps the winning going. Stefanski officially named the quarterback whisperer as Driskel throws for 300 air yards. And you know what I'm saying. I already told you what it is. Shout out to Jeff Driskel.
All right.
There you go. All right. Let's see mine. It's the first time in a while I'm picking the Browns to lose. Fifth time is not the charm. Jeff Driskel picked off twice as Browns fall in Cincy 17-16. I like the Browns with the points. I like the Bengals to win a slight game. I think they might be motivated to try to finish over 500. And let's face it, in this game, with as many guys as I think are going to be out for the Browns, the Bengals are better with all the guys that are going to be out. But if there's not as many out as Jason thinks, then maybe it'll change. But I got a close loss.
They're going to sit quite a few guys.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's not like you're going to rest all 22 starters.
No.
Bullet's scary to me how much you and I are thinking alike these days.
Oh, boy.
I got the Bengals too, and I've got almost the identical score. Bull had 17-16. I've got 17-14. Browns backups fall short. Bengals win the Nothing Bowl, and that's going to be the trophy there. He's just going to, the winner's going to come up on a podium and hold air, and that's going to be that.
I like that.
I'd like to pick the Browns, see a 5-0 Flacco run, but I can't see it.
That's really cute, guys. I set a UCSS record this week. I was the first one to get a headline in for the first time ever because it doesn't matter what the score is, jabroni. Browns know their role. They're headed to the postseason. I don't care about this game. It doesn't matter what the score is.
You were arguing with me for 2 hours and it mattered for Jeff Driskel.
It does matter. I don't care about the outcome. I care about how he plays.
All right.
Score doesn't matter.
Mikey.
My last one real quick. I am still wacko for Flacco. the Bengals win, but who cares? The Browns are going to the playoffs. I'm with Jason. This game's irrelevant to nothing, but I like your guys all in the same sentiment, but who gives a darn how this game ends as long as the Browns are going to the playoffs?
Putting McNugget's face on a football player's body is disturbing.
Yeah, it is.
There's no other way
That
to
was
say it.
the exact word I was
It's
thinking.
disturbing.
You're
We're
welcome.
out. Enjoy the game. Watch the Browns post-game show at the 2-minute warning on Sunday.